Hello everyone, my name's Ty and welcome to the TCG block. Here today to showcase my Aroma deck profile video. Aroma has been a deck I've fallen in love with since my early days of picking up Yu-Gi-Oh again. It was Aroma and Ghost Trick. I still play both these decks a lot. I still play both these decks. It has been a love-hate relationship with both of them. Both of them obviously not the greatest archetypes, and Aroma is a very unique one. Definitely involves with fully built around using life points to activate your effects to gain card effects or make your opponent have a rough time playing a game. But don't get too much love. They're probably due for some support and they could definitely use it. I've had a lot of variations of Aroma over the years I've been playing. This is one I'm reasonably happy with. There's a few that I could probably change around, but I'm pretty happy with this deck overall. Without further ado, I'll jump right in and try and explain the best of what this deck can do. So I'll start with two Aromage Marjoram. She's one of the main deck bosses, I guess you could say. She special summons herself when one of your Aromages destroy a battle. And all Aromages have two effects. An effect of when your life points are higher, and an effect of when you gain life points. For Marjorams, when your life points are high, you don't take battle damage. And when you gain life points, target cards in your opponent's graveyard up to the number of Aroma cards and banish them. So what I'm typically going to do is I'm going to go over each Aroma card and I'll only mention the effects that are worth mentioning. There's a couple for instance, I don't think the battle damage one on Marjoram is worth mentioning. So stuff like that. I run one Bergamot, absolute beat stick of the deck. You think 2400, not that strong, but when your life points are higher, he inflicts piercing, but if he gains life points, he gains 1000 attack and defense at the end of your opponent's next turn. And with the field spell, Aroma Garden, he can get quite beefy. So they're the two sort of non-starters. I do want to see a Marjoram in my hand, but I'm not too fussed. I never want to get Bergamot in the hand because I have ways to special summon him from the deck. I think the best card in the deck is Aromage Jasmine. When my life points are higher, I get an additional normal summon, and when I gain life points, I get to draw a card. So I want her in my starting hand every time. She is incredible. I have two Aromaseraphy Angelicas. Discard her, targeting Aroma in your graveyard, gain life points equal to its attack, and then I can special summon her to the field if I control an Aroma, and then banish her when she leaves the field. She's an extender, she's a tuner, she's level 1, she's great. I've ran 3 and I just found I draw into it all the time. I might go back to 3 because there's a monster layer I want to get rid of. I run 3 Laurels, can special summon himself if my life points are higher, and he can become a tuner. He's very, very good. Anytime you can special summon the hand, you sort of want 2 or 3 of that. I run 2 Rosemaries. She's not that good, I'll be honest with you. If your life points are higher, while my life points are higher than your opponent's, if apply monster you control attacks, your opponent can't activate monster effects. So that's quick play effects during the battle phase. It can help, but she's not that good. I tend to keep her in there level wise for the extra deck. Then I run one Kananga. Not that great. He's probably one I'd get rid of, but if you gain life points, target 1 spell trap, your opponent controls, return to the hand. So it's just all right for bouncing spells and traps. That's all the Aroma monsters I play. This is mainly a synchro deck with Laurel and Angelica being the tuners. For non-Aroma monsters, I run, as typical of most plant decks, 3 Lone Fire Blossoms. Tribute itself, special on 1 from the deck. Typically, it's my way to get into Jasmine. If I don't draw Jasmine, I do Lone Fire into Jasmine. Just gets to Jasmine quicker, she's the best. For an extender, I run 1 Rose Girl. For those who don't know plant decks, Rose Girl is just an extender. If one of your plants is sent from the field to the graveyard for any reason, be it for a summon, for a tribute, for a synchro, for card effect vibe, anything, she special summons the hand, and she can recycle next turn. So if there's a plant on the field and she's in the graveyard, she can return your hand. So it's just an endless recycle, essentially a triangle of hand, field to graveyard, graveyard to hand, bada. Great card, 1 of. We don't run any more because it's bricky, but you just run 1 of. And then a must have in any Aroma deck, Spooky Dogwood. One of my favorite cards ever. Don't need to explain what it does. Everyone should know what Spooky Dogwood does by now. And that is all the monsters. Again, the best one being Jasmine. You 100% want her in your hand every time. For spells, I run for the Aroma package. Essentially, I'm going to break the spells down into gaining life points and not gaining life points, because all these cards are useless if you don't gain life points, because all their good effects really activate when you gain life points. So Aroma Garden, you can make your monsters beefier and you can gain life points on command. We have Gardening. Whenever you normal, for the first time each turn when you normal special summon a Rona, you gain 1,000 life points, which is incredible just to active and essentially get a draw right off the bat. That draw right off the bat, 1,000 life points up. Incredible. And if your opponent attacks or declares an attack while you have less life points, you can special summon a Rona from the deck. Incredible, absolutely incredible. I run 2 of Child's Play. Each time your opponent special summons a monster, gain 1,000 life points, cannot be destroyed, and your monsters cannot be destroyed by battle while you have 10,000 or more life points, which is very easily doable in this deck. Essentially, I run Child's Play and Spell Absorption. So, for those who don't know what Spell Absorption does, gain life points when your opponent activates a spell card. These are more for gaining life points on your turn. These are gaining life points during your opponent's turn. You essentially want to gain life points all the time to make you go plus, to make them go neg. And by far, this is the best ratios, because your opponent will never not summon a monster, but sometimes they won't use a spell, but 3 seem bricky, so 2 and 2. This is all I do to run life points, mainly. I find this is enough, but, results may vary. Sorry, I was wrong. I do run 1 Cauldron the Old Man. I love this card. I've been running this card forever. Everyone knows what Cauldron does. I would remove it if I found a better one. Consistency, cards, all the time. Monster Reborn, Twin Twisters, Terraforming. Most decks will use 1 or if not all of these. There's all the spells. I'll move on to the traps. We have 3 unique Aroma traps. We have Blessed Winds, we have Humid Winds, we have Dried Winds. These can be searched with one of the extra deck cards. You can search on one of the Winds traps. So you get one of these depending on what you need. Any more seems a bit bricky. I might move up to 2 Dried Winds, just because anytime gain a life points, target 1 face-up monster your opponent controls and destroy it. Like this, I'm probably going to move to 2. This is essentially searches. And then Blessed Winds has 3 effects. All of them are pretty good. Send 1 from your hand or face up through to the graveyard to gain 500 life points. Target 1 plant in your graveyard, shuffle into the deck and gain life points, or pay 1,000 to special summon 1 from the graveyard. I'm probably going to move to 2, 1, and 2. So I think it's a good ratio, because you need, there's no 1 card combos really for this deck, because when you need monsters, you then need a way to gain life points. So I don't want to go too heavy into the Winds trap cards, even though they are all incredible. And then for non-Aroma based traps, I run a Solemn Strike and a Solemn Warning. I'm willing to cut these. And a lot of people say, well, you got life points to play with, but at the same time, I typically want to always have more life points than my opponent for my other effects. So I'm willing to cut these down if I need to. Then I run, just because I think it's funny and it fits the theme of Lost Winds. It's not a Winds card, but it is a Wind card. Lost Wind is never really that bad. Then one I've been testing out recently is Sales Pitch. This card doesn't work in the current Yu-Gi-Oh meta, but I think it really works in our slightly slower base meta. So if you don't know what Sales Pitch does, if your opponent adds a card from the deck to the hand except by drawing it by their card effect, reveal 1 card to your deck and add it to your hand, but you cannot activate its effects or one with that name for the rest of this turn, right? So most people, it's a good card, but it is slow. But with our meta, slow doesn't matter as much. So I think it's really good when this deck doesn't have too much draw power. We got a bit with Jasmine, and we got a bit of searching with Aroma Jasmine, but this does help. This definitely helps. That is all for the main deck. I'll move on to the extra deck. I'll start with the latest one, which is the Link, which is Aroma Jasmine. 2 plants is all it needs for this Link too. If your life points are higher, this and any points you cannot be destroyed by battle. It's a bit but she essentially can tribute any it points to special summon 1 from the deck. So she's a lone fire for any it points to. And if I do gain life points, I get to search a plant, which is incredible. I'll move on to one of the weaker synchros I run 2 of, which is Aroma Seraphy Rosemary. One, my life points are higher, all plants I control gain 500 attack and defense, which will help Bergamot, which is my absolute king hitter. And then if I gain life points, she's in the field, target one face up opponent controls, and its effects engage to the end of this turn. She's alright. She's the, like, out of the 3 extra decks, she's the one I'm going to go into third if I have room, time, and space and resources, but she's never my go-to, really. I typically wanted to go into Jasmine first, then second, I'll go into Sweet Marjoram, the boss monster for the deck, the actual boss monster for the deck. While my life points are higher, your opponent cannot target any pile monsters I control with card effects, which is a good protection for Jasmine, because I typically I go into her first. She doesn't protect herself at all, apart from battle, but like, you know, it is 2021. Then when she's synchro summoned, I get to search for one of the winds traps. So like I mentioned before, they're searchable. So especially summon her, I get a trap, which is, I think recently I'm going into Dried Winds. Like I'll just end my turn with Marjoram, waiting on life points and Dried Winds, and go from there. And if I gain life points, target one card you can opponent controls and destroy it. So she's a guarantee, she's a pop. So typically, I would like to end my turn with a Marjoram on the field, a Child's Play, and then probably a Dried Winds, right? Special summon her, get a pop, and then during their turn, whenever they, whenever they special summon a monster, you get a pop, right? It's 2 pops. A lot of decks really actually struggle, really get stifled after 2 pops. And that is all the extra deck. It is a small archetype, it isn't incredible. It won't stand up to a lot of the meta decks of today. It'll get run through, but it's a ramp up deck, you know what I mean? If you want to stop it, you got to stop it early, but once it starts, its life points rolling and rolling and rolling, constantly getting plus, getting surges, getting draws, popping. It's very hard to stop. But yeah, no 1-card combos. Even some 2-card combos aren't great. So you gotta, it's an interesting deck. I feel like ratios sort of make or break this deck. It's one I'm happy with now, but we'll see how we go long term. Thank you very much, guys. This has been my Aroma deck profile video. Check out some of the other ones on our channel. All the decks we run are pretty much absolutely pure. Giving an absolutely pure extra deck with some within theme ones for the main deck, like Rose Girl, Lone Fire Blossom. Cool. Thank you very much, guys. If you like hearing us talk, like I mentioned, we have other deck profile videos on the channel. Or if you really like hearing us talk, we have a weekly podcast over on a different YouTube channel, the Lobot Podcast. Link will be in the description if you want to hear us talk basketball. Okay, thank you very much, guys. Bye.